Hey, welcome back to the channel, everybody. How you doing? How you been? What's been good with you? We are officially in season 2, and I know I'm just as shocked as you are, but here we are. So what are we doing? What is season 2 gonna be about? Last season 1, it was all about like scandals, corruptions, fraud, just dirty underworld stuff. I wanted to do this season just to kind of like break it up a little bit, you know what I mean? I don't want to keep hitting you with darkness, doom and gloom every single time you see me upload, even though, now we're about to get into like paranoid schizo vibes. So yeah, Conspiracy Theory Iceberg. If you've never heard of how an iceberg works, because I'm assuming everybody to some degree has heard of a conspiracy theory. If you don't know how an iceberg works, the way it works is it's usually in tiers, right? And the very top tiers, that's stuff that is more common. People have heard about it or at least know a little somewhat about it. But as you go lower and you get deeper into the iceberg, that's where information starts becoming obscure. It's very hard to find, and it's just overall stuff that people haven't really heard much about. But this one, the theme of it is completely conspiracy theories. So I just wanted to open it up, give a little intro for anybody that doesn't know what it is, because I mean, you never know, could be your first time. Secondly, I did want to say also, you can find tons of these videos out there. Like seriously, there's tons of conspiracy theory iceberg videos, mystery icebergs, whatnot. I mean, you could even find them over like probably your favorite TV shows, video games, movies, sports, etc. But what I'm trying to do that's going to separate it a little bit differently, because most of them, they kind of just touch on a subject and give a few one-liners and move on, because it's going to be a lot of entries. You're going to see that. I'm going to post at the end of each video, I'm going to try to post whatever tier I'm on. That way, if it's something you want me to cover, even though I'm not going to cover it, then you can just drop it in the comments and be like, hey, if you can find more info, do a video about this. And if I can find enough, meat and potatoes in it, I'll do a video about it. It is what it is. Let's go. But if you haven't heard, in that little spoiler alert right there, I'm not covering every single topic, because like I said, it's a bunch of them, and I could do that. And if I did do that, then I would just be giving you one-liners as well. And like I said, you can just go to another, popping YouTuber who already has done that. Ain't no point in coming here. But what separates it is, for example, on tier 1, I'm going to cover one topic. On tier 2, I'm going to cover 2 topics. Tier 3, I'm going to cover 3, and you get the idea. Basically, I'm just going to do that for every single tier. And like I said, if you see something that catches your eye, because I'm going to post, whatever tier I'm on at the end of the video, just drop it in the comments and I'll see if I can come back with something. We'll see. Yeah, other than that, let's get into it. Oh yeah, one more thing. I want to at least explain the criteria of the ones I selected. Usually it's either going to be because I think that there is some actual truth to it, and I'm trying to do research to put some truth or some evidence, or at least studies that back up that it could be true, needs more peer reviews, whatnot. They're just flat out funny. Some of these conspiracy theories are hilarious. I'm not gonna lie, like some of them are funny. And number 3, some of these I think would make good movies. Like, I get so pissed off seeing Hollywood remake after remake, and I'm just like, bro, just look at this damn list. Like, bro, there's tons of movies and TV shows and all this crazy stuff. But anyways, let's get into it. So, starting off with tier 1, we are going to be talking about something called transhumanism. Transhumanism is essentially the philosophy of taking one's consciousness, one's mind, and putting it in something, let's say a robot, a cyborg, android, hell, a rack mount server somewhere in some data center. It's essentially just trying to make a way to where the human consciousness can survive without the human body. I would say this is on the conspiracy theory iceberg for multiple reasons. Reason number 1, there's always been this kind of like background fear of some conspiracy theorists that, elites, people in power, people in control are trying to live forever. And I mean, that's almost not a conspiracy theory in itself. Like, some of them do actually want to live forever. And you can even find evidence, and you can find that there's research. And I mean, it's been research into stuff like this forever, you know, stuff like, you know, people trying to do cryogenics and freezing. I think I even said it maybe in a last video or somewhere in a video in the past. I even mentioned something along the lines of, you know, if you get $1 billion, the last thing you want to do is give it up. Because if you get $1 billion, you're clearly greedy as shit. So the last thing you want to do is die and give it up. I mean, like, even Bill Gates himself is salty and said he's not even going to give his kids a lot of his inheritance. He's just going to spread it around or whatever. I don't know. But it's a lot of theories and it's a lot of philosophies in this conspiracy theory for a bunch of different reasons. Another reason is people talk about, you know, the soul itself, and like, what are you doing trying to play God and trying to bypass natural processes? If it's your time to come home, it's your time to come home. Like, you know, God's calling you, pick up the phone. And it goes into a deep thought of what is it if you are able to take that mind, take that brain, take that consciousness. What is that? I mean, even to this day, we're trying to figure out exactly what consciousness is. We don't fully know what that means. So to sit here and try to grab it out of someone and then, I don't know, put it on a hard drive, you know, it's a lot of thoughts to go into it. So you can even find certain people like Jeff Bezos, I think maybe even Elon Musk and Peter Thiel, who are actually doing active research into this. They're trying to find ways to do this transhumanism and figure out ways to live essentially forever. Not to mention, of course, there's other concerns about this as well, right? I mean, just look around you. Look in the age we're living in when it comes to technology and electronics. When I was growing up, all of this stuff was cool. It was cool growing up with technology, but now it's literally subscription this, tracking you through cookies that, like it's, you know what I mean? Like, would you really want to put your consciousness in a robot and you're walking down the street and all of a sudden you have to stop because you need to watch a 10-second ad to like continue walking for another hour? You see what I mean? So I mean, there's concerns of corporate greed, there's concerns of potential surveillance. I mean, what if we get to a point where everybody that wakes up into this robot body, you have a kill switch in you? I mean, it's endless possibilities about this transhumanism stuff. And I mean, with the way electronics work, I mean, you will be controlled to a degree that you can't even fathom. So, you know, there's that. Crazy enough, transhumanism is almost 100 years old as far as like the founding blocks of its philosophy goes, which I think is insane. But there was a person, I'm not gonna lie, looking at my notes, John Desmond Bernal. John Desmond Bernal, he made a book, and I believe it was published in 1929. The book was called The World, the Flesh, and the Devil. And it spoke about a future, you know, they always had these grand, optimistic thoughts of what it would look like now. I guarantee you they thought it was going to be like the Jetsons, but damn, it is closer to Idiocracy than it is the Jetsons, and that's unfortunate. But anyways, he even talked about trying to like replace body parts, you know, with like these kind of mechanical / maybe somewhat biological replacements, like, you know, some kind of weird android-like or cybernetic heart or liver or whatever you may need. And then it kind of gets to that point, you know, and I asked myself this as well. I can't remember the name of it. I think it's called the Ship of Theseus. And then you have to ask yourself, how many body parts could you replace before you could say that you are no longer you? And then you also have to ask yourself, you know, are you you if you've replaced everything about yourself except the consciousness? And then, you know, I mean, it's so many different ways you can go with this theory, right? But overall, that's the theory, is transhumanism and people trying to turn into hard drives. Yeah. Just so you know, we are literally about to go right into tier 2. I'm going to combo it for you. See, I'm trying to keep a certain amount of episodes each season, and this would be like 10, because it's like 10 tiers. So I'm trying to scrunch some of them together. However, we're getting into tier 2 right now, and we're going to pop off tier 2 with fluoride dangers. Yes, fluoride. fluoride, that they put in the water. So let's get into it. Fluorine is the 9th element on the periodic table and the most reactive and electronegative chemical known to man thus far. When it acts as an ion or creates an ionic bond with another compound, it becomes fluoride. Fluoride dangers is specifically talking about fluoridation of our tap water, our drinking water, right? Now, before we jump into it, I just want to say fluoride does have benefits. It does. So the initial reason why we decided to put fluoride in our tap water is because it actually does, and it is scientifically proven, to help prevent cavities. Okay? Stay with me now. However, there are adverse effects to taking too much fluoride. I'm speaking very slowly because I want you to take this shit serious. Okay. I'm about to read off some of the adverse effects. And FYI, you can check the description on the video. I'm not just going to sit here and throw this shit at you with no sources. I will be showing you the sources in the description. Now, again, you can go debate these people, these scientists who came up with this. I'm just here giving you the info, okay? I just want to throw it out. I'm just giving you the info, okay? Anyways, let's get into it. So, these are the adverse effects of too much fluoride. It can accelerate aging and influence degrading collagen even quicker than usual. It reduces your thyroid functions and increases the risk of cancer. There was a 1977 study comparing cancer rates in cities that use fluoride in tap water versus cities that do not use fluoride in their tap water. And there was a 10% increase in cancer cases in the city that used fluoride. Now, if I recall, they're kind of 50-50 on that study. So, I mean, take that as you wish. Look into it on your own if you want to. But we have more. There is an increase in genetic damage and increases the likelihood of autoimmune diseases. And studies on children showed that large amounts of fluoride caused a decrease in the strength of bones and, in some cases, osteoporosis. Again, you can go to the sources in the description. There ain't no reason you need to debate me. I'm just telling you what it is. If you want to know, I probably drank some fluoride earlier, okay? Leave me alone. Anyways, so this is insane, right? Insane news. Now, if you want to get into it, there are certain levels in fluoride, right? I mean, of course, everything has certain parameters, right? So you can check with your local city water utility companies and ask them to audit. I mean, they're probably going to give you the middle finger if you ask them that. But yeah, there are certain levels that are deemed appropriate for us that should have no adverse effects. I want you to remember all of these effects I mentioned are from taking too much fluoride, not fluoride in general, just too much fluoride, okay? So just bear that in mind. Now, ironically, in children 8 years and younger, there are increasing chances that they run the risk of getting something called fluorosis. I believe it's fluorosis. Did I say that right? Yeah, fluorosis. The best way I can describe fluorosis, you've probably seen some people with it. It's like their teeth are essentially white, but there's kind of like these yellow streaks or stains on the teeth. That is fluorosis. That itself is fluorosis. I just kind of think it's ironic, protecting the teeth, but now you kind of have yellowish teeth, all because you drink too much water. I think that's kind of crazy, but I digress. In addition to fluorosis and the other studies that they showed with fluoride in general in children 8 or younger, there is also a risk that you could get a severe case of fluorosis. Ironically, a severe case of fluorosis actually has a chance to weaken your teeth and cause them to chip easier, which I think, again, is very ironic because all you're trying to do is just drink some damn water. That's all you do. You're just drinking water. But also, they actually have studies that showed that children who had too much fluoride in their system at a younger age tested lower on IQ tests. Short-term effects of fluoride include nausea, vomiting, diarrhea, a lot of gut stuff going on, right? And of course, in severe cases, death. So yeah, don't get lost in the sauce when it comes to fluoride. That's all I'm saying. Now again, don't get paranoid about drinking water, okay? Please don't get paranoid. Like, it takes quite a bit of fluoride to get you there, but that's not 100% where the conspiracy theory itself comes into play. Keep that in mind. The thing that actually gets a little bit more concerning when it comes to fluoride is trying to gauge yourself how much fluoride you've actually consumed within a day, because it's in the tap water, right? But you got to think bigger than that. You have to think more in depth than that. It's in the tap water, right? So since it's in the tap water, right, and the tap water flows to a bunch of different places, right, that means that it's in everything. It's in everything. It's in your vegetables, it's in your fruits, it's in some of your meats. Matter of fact, I think it's naturally occurring in some of your meats. And that's where the true issue actually lies, because how can you gauge how much fluoride you actually have in your body? And that's where the conspiracy theory lies within itself. Now, you could probably find some kind of scientist that will say that's still not enough, because again, you'd have to feel some of these other symptoms I mentioned, right? Like nausea, vomiting, death. No, I'm playing. But that's essentially where it lies in. It's basically saying, how do you know that some of these effects, such as like the lower IQs and things like that, aren't actually bothering you? How do you know that it isn't an effect from fluoride? And it's such a thing. By the way, fluoridation of the water got introduced in like 1945. So this is generations that have gone through this. And that's another thing too, is it's also saying like, have we been conditioned to a point where these adverse effects are just like long-term conditioning to just not even, you and me, but just humanity as a whole at this point, except for the other countries that have it banned. There's like 29 countries that have fluoridation, oh my God, of their water banned. So I think those countries include maybe Denmark, I think Germany, Austria, Sweden, who else? I think maybe Italy. Like I said, it's like 29 of them. You can go look up the list, but 29 countries said, no, we're not putting fluoride in the tap water. So I'm just saying, I think Sweden is like one of the happiest places on earth. So, I mean, I don't know if there's any correlation there. Probably not. I'm just bullshitting. But yeah, in general, that's fluoride in water. There you go. Moving on, next, we're going to talk about the pineal gland. This is an interesting one for me because, I mean, look, I got the dreads. I'm going to be honest with you. Like, I'm not one of them dudes. You know what I'm saying? Like, back in the day when I was single, a lot of women would see me with the dreads and they try to come up to me on like this, like crazy, like, astrology, like, you know what I mean? Like herbal bullshit. Like, listen, I no. But I'm getting all that because I was curious, right? I was curious about the whole pineal gland thing because I'm like, people keep talking about it. Let's look into it. Let's look into what science is saying about this. So here we go. The pineal gland is an endocrine gland, and it kind of sits in the back of the brain a little bit. It looks a little bit like a pine cone, some people say. And its actual main focus is to really kind of help you regulate your circadian rhythm. So basically your sleep and wake cycles, when you go to sleep, when you wake up, that's essentially what it's for. Now, upon the research, it got pretty interesting looking into this whole pineal gland business. So the pineal gland, it can be found, of course, in all humans, and not only all humans, all vertebrates, period. And even some non-vertebrates like insects and whatnot. And I think some other animals, they don't exactly have like a pineal gland like ours, but it's something that's like very similar. It's like almost like whatever is the species equivalent of it, they have it. So makes sense. You know, most animals go to sleep and wake up, and, you know, the functions are pretty much the same. So, yeah. Now, what I thought was very interesting, though, is the size of the pineal gland is also directly correlated with the survival scenario or environment that that animal or species is in. And the bigger your pineal gland, the harsher your elements. They noticed that animals in like harsher, colder climates had bigger pineal glands. And it gets more and more interesting. So when it comes to humans specifically, they noticed that people that were obese had smaller pineal glands than people that were fit. Not only that, but people that have insomnia and potentially schizophrenia also had smaller pineal glands, which that all kind of sort of, I guess, makes sense. I mean, you know, again, pineal gland help you regulate sleep and help you regulate being awake. It actually not only puts out certain things, right? Like, oh yeah, by the way, it puts out melatonin. That's like one of the main things it does. Now, it's not the only organ in your body. It's not the only thing that functions and puts out melatonin, but this is more or less one of its main kind of functions for the pineal gland. So it puts out melatonin, which, you know, of course, helps with the sleep and the wake cycles, right? But it also puts out, some cases, small trace amounts of testosterone, because again, like, you know, it is an endocrine gland. So it puts out certain things like that. Also, it puts out, NN-DMT. Yes, the DMT. So it puts out, you know, bits and pieces of DMT as well. DMT is interesting. We're gonna discuss that a little bit in a later tier, spoiler alert. But it does put out these type of, you know, chemicals, these hormones and whatnot in your body. And I think when it comes to the DMT aspects, some people speculate that that's what helps us dream at night. Again, I think the jury's out on that one, so don't completely rule that out as being the truth. But some people say that that's what helps us dream at night, is the DMT that slowly gets dripped into our brain from the pineal gland, right? Now, when you play all that into factors and stuff starts getting out of whack, that's where things may or may not come in and seem a little bit out of whack, such as insomnia, such as schizophrenia, so forth and so forth. But it's a lot deeper than that. And you just, you know, I'm just some random dude with dreads on the internet. Don't take my advice. Recently, it was discovered that calcium deposits have been found in pineal glands. And they found them years ago in other vertebrates, right? But now they're looking at us and they're saying, oh, it's in us too. And it's gotten so prominent in the medical field that whenever they do x-rays on like the head, they use the calcified pineal gland as like the North Star. That's how they kind of figure out where they are in someone's brain, which I think is insane. And it also comes with age as well. So one of the main factors is they say, or they're thinking, you know, it's still an ongoing study, but they think that it has something to do with us aging over time, and over time, our pineal gland just begins to calcify. And of course, that's the other side of the coin. When it comes to what I mentioned earlier about schizophrenia and insomnia and a few other things going on in the brain, that is the other coin that they're saying, and they believe, or at least some researchers believe, that that is what is causing it, is the calcification. So they believe that calcifying is actually causing those things to happen. In the beginning of the research, they said that although it may be calcified, it doesn't do anything to the pineal gland trying to distribute out some of these chemicals, such as melatonin, which again is very important if you're trying to go to sleep. They said it doesn't do anything to disrupt that. However, recent studies showed that it looks like it does, which, I mean, you know, I don't know. It just seems like it would to me. Like, your pineal gland was working fine, and then all of a sudden it's calcified. Why would that not affect anything? I don't know why they think that that wouldn't do anything at all, but, you know, whatever. The part that's also crazy to me is, don't forget that this also affects aging. Why does it affect aging? Didn't I say something about aging earlier? Huh. Okay. I'm sure that won't come up again. So far, the scientists have done essentially 3 methods. They boiled it down to 3 methods to ensure that your pineal gland is not calcified. Honestly, bro, if you're like 20, 30, 40, you're cooked, okay? Don't worry about it. Just live your life, okay? If you're younger than that, maybe there's still time for you. Who knows? We'll figure it out. But I'm gonna go ahead and list the 3 reasons. One method is to get a pineal gland transplant. I'm gonna be honest. I don't recommend it. Mainly because the only successful one, I believe, known to man right now is done on lab rats. So don't do it. don't do it. Just live your life. You know what I mean? So that's method number 1. Method number 2 is almost like a form of dialysis. So they find some kind of, I forgot what it was, but some kind of acidic substance or compound, and they were able to kind of put that in and somewhat flush the pineal gland out. Now, I believe that one may have actually been done on humans. I don't know. You can go double check on your own. But that's method number 2, is to just kind of flush it out. Method number 3. Boy, oh boy. Again, listen, I was not trying to do this, but method number 3, I saved it for last. Control your fluoride consumption. I'm not making this shit up. It was in the document, bro. And what's crazy to me is, again, I picked both of these, but I did not really think they were going to tie in together. I didn't think that was going to happen. So I laughed really hard, because if you look at my notes, it's just like, it's right up here talking about, you know, the dangers of fluoride. And nowhere in that did it mention anything about the pineal gland. Nowhere in any of those documents I saw. I don't know, maybe I can Control F and go back. But when I get to the actual pineal gland documents, then it talks about avoiding fluoride. So that's where that aging compound came in when I mentioned it earlier about it actually ages you to have a calcified pineal gland. So there you go. So what do you do with that? I don't know. Electrolytes. That's what the plants crave. Yeah, but that's essentially tier 1 and tier 2. And right now I'm going to show you guys the complete tier 1. You can take a moment, you can pause the screen if you need to. It's a lot of subjects, man. It's a lot of subjects on there. So take your time, go ahead, look through there. If you want me to try to do a deeper dive into any of those subjects, comment it below. Comment, talk about blankety blank, whatever the hell you want me to talk about. And like I said, if it's enough going on there, then I'll do it. I'll make a video. You should probably bully me though on it, because you know I be dragging ass sometimes. So you know I'm not gonna lie to you. And by the way, when I do make a video, it's not gonna come out like in season 2. By the way, I thought you should know that season 2 is pretty much already like mapped out. I'm doing this Conspiracy Theory Iceberg and a few other extra videos. By the way, if you don't know, we're done talking about the Conspiracy Theory Iceberg. Did I mention that? I don't remember. Anyways, but yeah, that's essentially it for episode 1. You know, episode 2, if I recall, we're going to be talking tier 3 and tier 4. So it's going to be even more crazy subjects. And then I think tier 5 and 6 is a video. So that's going to be a long ass video. And same for 6 and 7. Maybe 8, 9, and 10 are separate. I can't remember how that works. I don't know. Anyways, whatever. I'm yapping at this point. Thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you. We're going to be doing more videos. I kind of got a little sucker punch of a video that I'm going to do. This is for all of the enthusiasts of Wendigoon. So I'm going to do a Conspiracy Theory Iceberg video, essentially trying to cover all of the topics he couldn't find information on. Because essentially that's kind of where I started, right? Was, you know, his stuff. That's what motivated me to at least do this one. It's a lot of interesting topics, a lot of interesting things. I think my favorite one at this point, I'm just yapping. You can click off the video. Hope you liked it and whatnot. But I think my favorite conspiracy theory. And it's not because I believe it's true. It's because it's funny as hell to me. Has to be the one about lottery tickets. So it's one on the entry and it says lottery tickets are just a honeypot trap to catch time travelers. And I think that would be a funny ass movie. I really do. I think that would be a funny comedy. Like somebody here legitimately won the lottery, but then they start getting like stalked by like these kind of weird men in black time police. And like, they're just like, I don't know what you're talking about. I just won the lottery. And they're just like, what year did you come from? I don't know. I'm stupid. I think that shit would be hilarious. That would be a goofy movie. No pun intended. But anyways, that's going to be it for the video. Again, thank y'all. Love y'all. You know, you don't have to be here, but you are. I think that's cool. I hope that I'm doing a good enough job holding your attention. Other than that, hope you guys have a fantastic day, night, whatever the hell it is. And we'll see you in the next episode. Toodles.